Hi, welcome to another video. So I have been covering GLM 5.3 a lot recently. It is currently sitting at number 1 on my bench, above Fable 5, above Opus 5, above basically everything. And if you missed that video, it will be linked below. But ever since that video, there is one question that keeps coming up in the comments, and it is basically this. Okay, the model is great, but how do I actually use it at the lowest possible cost? And how do I get the absolute best results out of it? So, that is what this video is. I have spent the last few days digging through the docs, the forums, and a ton of scattered posts, and I have found a bunch of tricks that most people have no idea about. One of them literally doubles your quota for free, and another one gets you about 30% more effective tokens without changing anything in your workflow. So stick around, because by the end of this, you will have the full setup. Let's get right into it. First, let's talk about the GLM Coding Plan, because that is by far the cheapest way to use GLM 5.3. The plan comes in 3 tiers. Lite is $18 a month, Pro is $72, and Max is $160. And there is currently a promo running that knocks these down to roughly 12.6, 50, 54, and 112. If you go quarterly or yearly, it gets even cheaper than that. On the Lite plan, you're looking at around 80 prompts per 5-hour cycle and about 400 prompts per week. Pro is roughly 5 times that, and Max is around 20 times. And the word prompt here actually means a prompt. One message from you counts as one prompt, even if the agent goes off and makes 50 tool calls and edits 20 files behind the scenes. This is a much better metric than counting requests, and it also matters for how you should prompt, which I will come back to in a bit. Just to put this in perspective, Claude Code Max is $200 a month. The GLM Lite plan on the current promo is about $12.60. That is like 6% of the price. And on my bench, the model is literally scoring above Fable and Opus. Even if you assume real-world usage lands at 90% of Claude, the value here is just not a contest. Now, let's talk about where you should actually use this plan, because this is where most people get it wrong. You can connect the coding plan to Claude Code, OpenCode, Kilo, Klein, and a bunch of other tools, and that is fine. But after using this thing daily, my recommendation is to just use ZCode, which is ZAI's own agentic environment. And I have a few reasons for that. First, it is official. ZCode is built by ZAI specifically around GLM, so instead of forcing GLM into a harness that was designed around Claude, you are using it in the thing that was actually built for it. The prompts, the tool definitions, the whole agentic loop, all of it is tuned for this exact model, and you can feel that in the outputs. Second, and this is the big one, for cost, the caching. ZCode is engineered around GLM's caching behavior, and it hits cache rates above 98%, which works out to roughly 30% more effective tokens compared to running the same work through a third-party harness. Cached input tokens are billed at a much lower rate than fresh input, so a harness that keeps the cache hot is literally free quota. This is that 30% trick I mentioned at the start, and you get it just by using the official app. And third, it just works better. No settings files, no environment variables, no base URL juggling. You install it, log in, and your coding plan is connected. It runs on Mac OS, both Apple Silicon and Intel, Windows on 64-bit and ARM, and Linux as deb and app image. So everyone is covered. The setup is honestly the entire setup. Download ZCode from ZAI's site, log in with your ZAI account, and if you have the coding plan, it is already active. GLM 5.3 is the default model. That is it. Compare that to the settings.json dance you have to do in Claude Code, and you'll see why I like this. And you're not giving up features by leaving the Claude ecosystem either. ZCode has project indexing, skills, MCP servers, custom commands, usage tracking, a built-in preview with DevTools, Git integration, and browser automation. There is even a remote angle. You can control it from your phone, and there are bots for Telegram, WeChat, and Feishu. So you can kick off a long task and check on it from wherever. So that is the setup. Now, let's get to the actual meat of this video, which is how to squeeze the absolute maximum out of this plan. These are the things I found digging around. And honestly, some of these should be on a billboard because nobody talks about them. The first one is the off-peak trick, and this is the single biggest one. So under the hood, the plan runs on a points system where input, cached input, and output tokens each consume points at their own rate. And it turns out that calls made during off-peak hours cost half the points. Peak hours are 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. in UTC plus 8 on weekdays only. That is it. 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, China time. Which means if you are in the US or Europe, almost your entire workday is off-peak. For someone on Eastern time, peak hours are 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. unless you're coding at 3 in the morning. You are permanently on half price points. You are effectively getting double the quota, every single day for doing absolutely nothing, and weekends are always off-peak. Everywhere, I found this buried in the docs, and I could not believe it wasn't front and center on the pricing page. The second one is cache discipline, because even inside ZCode, you can help the cache, or you can fight it. The cache works on stable context prefixes. So, set up your project files once, your agents file, your rules, your skills, and then keep them stable. Work in linear sessions instead of constantly going back and editing things at the top of the conversation, because every time the start of your context changes, the cache misses and you pay the full input rate. Keep it stable, and the 98% hit rate does its thing. Also, quick bonus on top of these two. There is a 1.5 times quota boost running on the coding plan through August 31, and it stacks with everything I just mentioned. So, off-peak plus caching plus the boost, your effective quota right now is kind of absurd. The third one is about thinking, and this changed with 5.3, so pay attention if you're coming from an older setup. You cannot fully disable thinking on GLM 5.3 anymore. If you are using the API and your old config has thinking set to disabled, it will actually break, and you'll need to switch it to enabled. What you control now is the reasoning effort, which has 3 levels, low, high, and max. And the default is max. That default is the problem. Max effort on every little task is how you burn quota for no reason. The model will sit there and overthink a one-line fix. And from what I've seen, overthinking doesn't just cost more, it sometimes gives you worse output. So right-size it, keep it on high for normal coding, drop it to low for simple renames and quick questions, and save max for the genuinely hard stuff. Big multi-file refactors, long agentic runs, debugging something nasty. And the simplest way to do this anywhere is to just tell it to think less in the prompt. It actually adheres to that surprisingly well. The fourth one is about how you prompt. And this comes back to the prompt-based metering. Since one prompt counts as one prompt, no matter how much work happens inside it, the economical way to use this plan is fewer, bigger, better planned prompts. Don't drip feed the agent 15 small messages. Write one proper prompt with the full task, the context, and the constraints, and let it run the whole thing agentically. You get charged one prompt, and the agent might do half an hour of work. And this is exactly where ZCode's goal mode comes in, because it is basically this trick turned into a feature. You give it a larger objective, and it creates a task list, tracks progress, uses the read-only explore subagent to investigate the codebase, and just keeps working until the goal is done or it is genuinely blocked. It even verifies completion instead of stopping at the first draft. One goal, one prompt from you, and a massive amount of work on the other side. This is the mode where the coding plan quota really shines. For bigger features, I'd still follow the classic loop inside it. Explore first, then plan, then build, then verify, have it explore, and write a plan as one prompt, then execute the plan as the next. 2 prompts, huge amount of work done, and the quality is way higher than vibing your way through 20 messages. The fifth one is context management. Yes, the model has a 1 million token context window now, but for my own usage, I'd still recommend starting a new thread once you cross roughly 200K tokens on the coding plan. Context rot is a real thing with this model, and the quality visibly degrades in very long threads. Fresh thread, quick summary of where you left off, and you're back at full quality. The 1 million window is great for dumping in a big repo at the start, not for holding a week-long conversation. The sixth one is vision. GLM 5.3 is not a vision model. But if you are on the Pro plan or above, you get an MCP tool for vision that takes your screenshots, sends them to a vision model, and pipes the description back to GLM. You also get a web search MCP. So if your workflow involves screenshots of broken UIs, that is how you handle it. And since ZCode has the built-in preview with DevTools anyway, you can often just let the agent inspect the running app directly instead of screenshotting it all. And the seventh one, skills. ZCode supports skills natively, and most of the skills in Anthropic's skill library work with GLM out of the box. The front-end design skill especially makes a real difference when you're building UIs. Install that one at minimum, drop it into ZCode's skills folder, and it just gets picked up. One last thing before my verdict. Remember that this model is literally specialized in security analysis. That's what 5.3's post-training was focused on. So, one of the highest value things you can do with your quota is point it at your own codebase and ask it to audit for vulnerabilities. That is an area where it does something the other models genuinely don't do as well. And one audit prompt on a repo is worth more than 100 snake games. So let me wrap this up with my honest take. With this setup, the Lite plan on promo, ZCode keeping the cache above 98%, off-peak hours doing their thing, effort right-sized, and goal mode running big one-shot tasks. You're getting a model that tops my bench for about $12 a month. And with the boost, the real-world quota is so generous that I genuinely struggle to hit the limits on Lite, and I use this stuff all day. If you're a student or you're budget conscious or You're just tired of paying $200 a month. I really don't see what else comes close right now. The price to performance is just on another level. Overall, it's pretty cool. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked this video, consider donating through the Super Thanks option or becoming a member by clicking the Join button. Also, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye.